This episode of the Totally Rad Show is brought to you by AN Hosting, offering premium web hosting since 2001. Today on TRS, we take a look at some of the new downloadable game titles.
We've had a bunch of really high-profile AAA releases this year so far, early in the year. And so we've been talking about those every single week on the show, and we've been missing a bunch of really wonderful downloadable titles. And you know, spring and summer tend to be those times when Xbox Live Arcade and PSN have these big initiatives where they push out really top quality titles. So we thought we'd check in and try to have a conversation about a ton of games that have come out recently. The one that came out this week, actually on Xbox Live Arcade, is this Dishwasher sequel, Dishwasher Vampire Smile. It's a really fun story because the first Dishwasher was a true success story. This guy, James Silva, wrote the game himself based on his experience as an actual dishwasher and his fantasy about killing everybody that worked there. And it was an what is it called? Oh gosh, the XNA. The XNA initiative, and it won the grand prize, and so he got a publishing contract and $10,000. And now Vampire Smile came out. Pretty cool game.
It's very cool.
It's very cool. Definitely inventive.
I'm not a beat 'em up guy. I'm not a button mash.
You're a lover, not a fighter.
I'm a lover, not a fighter. But I did love Dishwasher. No,
ultra violent.
Ultra violent. Yeah. Really cool art style, as if someone's like sketching things angrily on.
Yeah.
But which sometimes epic stuff happens. Like you lock people, folk comes in really close and you do epic. But the art style is so aggressive that you can't really see what's happening.
You're like, something epic is happening?
Yeah, I think there was a head ripped off. I'm not quite sure, but
I'm not sure where my hands were, but shit happened.
But leveling up, getting different moves and
different weapons.
What's really cool is you have the two buttons that you do your stuff, but then you're using the right thumbstick to dash, and you go vertically as high as you want or down.
Yeah, there's no limits to that.
It kind of opens up the door of fun for mashing those buttons.
Actually, you're allowed to keep the doors closed and just zip right through them.
Yeah, through grates is amazing. The other thing I really loved about it was there were some really good sort of horror moments, you know, the sort of like weird crawling to the bed, and then you get into bed and you wake up and everybody is dead in the room. Clearly you have done it. That was awesome. Those moments where you're like, I'm sort of glad that I didn't see that, because the visuals of all the gore on the walls and you did I do all that stuff?
Very good, very immersive for an arcade game. The storytelling, is better than you would think. Yeah.
And Beyond Good and Evil HD came out recently. I know that's one of your favorite games ever.
It's one of my favorite games ever. Did you start playing it?
Oh yeah.
Well,
I've
you
actually never
played it, right?
I've never played Beyond Good and Evil.
I played a GameCube game. You didn't have a GameCube,
I've never played
right?
it. Yeah.
I never finished it, but I played it. I haven't finished the newer version either. But
okay.
I love how it looks. It's amazing how much just a little bit of
visual touch-up,
anti-aliasing goes a long way. You know,
it looks like how I remember it. If I were to pick it up on GameCube now, it would probably be all fuzzy. But now it looks like how you remember it, and I'm loving it. I'm loving replaying this game. It's amazing that a game this old. I get why it was so good, and I love how clearly defined the characters are, and it's a great premise. I love being in that world, and the combat's actually really fun. But what's interesting too is these HD remakes of games. People were upset we get upset when they redo E.T. and they take walkie-talkies out and they make or not besides that kind of thing, but they make E.T. CG instead of his.
Right.
But what's interesting is I actually dug what they did with E.T. because it looked like, as I just said, how I remember E.T. And then when you revisit E.T. as an adult, you go, oh, that's just a red light on a dolly moving by instead of the hopping thing.
Right.
Now, with movies, you kind of want to have the original intact, which we do for E.T., different than Star Wars.
Sure.
But we want to have the original intact because it's historical, how back then they could only do that to make him. But with games, it's different. I feel like
it's always limited by the technology.
Exactly.
So when the technology is improved.
And with games, it's like a fidelity thing.
Yeah.
As opposed to craftsmanship. It's it doesn't, Beyond Good and Evil didn't look fuzzy because they had to stick a red light on a dolly to make it seem like you were traversing.
Yeah, it was actually limited by the
rendering
processing power.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Now, Alex, I can tell by the shirt you're wearing that you enjoy yourself some Ghostbusters.
I do. Wore it specific.
What did you think of Sanctums of Slime, the new top-down Ghostbusters? We reviewed the other Ghostbusters reboot, which was a full 3D,
which was great. We said that it was like in lieu of Ghostbusters 3, you get a Ghostbusters 3 type story with the characters that you love. Fun, funny, combat was good.
This one's more of a top-down arcade game like Smash
TV. Shitty is the word you're looking for. This one's a little more like shitty.
And none of the original characters.
Huh.
That's not the problem.
This is not the problem. Yeah, put all of the faces over those people. This is a really bad, I mean, poorly done game. It's
disappointing.
It's very disappointing. This feels like a game that somebody would make as sort of like a senior thesis at some sort of like low-rent game college, where like they were like,
mean.
Well, I mean, honestly, that's what it is because the combat is horrible. They just
Smash TV, right? It's basically Smash TV. It's like you go into a room, you can't leave that room until everything's dead.
Yeah, but it's horrible Smash TV. There's no way to survive this game, even on.
That's how Smash TV is.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but like. The guns don't really fire in a way that a gun would fire. There's sort of this arbitrary cycle through your weapons. If a yellow thing comes at you, you should shoot it with yellow. I mean, it's like, give me a break. Well, and then it's just constant dying and being revived by other people. Yeah. Constantly dying, being revived by other people. And there's nothing unique about it. The other thing that I found was, I like the sort of, it's funny, it worked in Dishwasher Vampire Smile, where you had these, it's basically just a panel, and then a talk bubble kind of comes out, and you read it.
Right.
That works when it's like one line, then one line, then one line. But when you put a paragraph of, and then just, the paragraph goes away. I mean, unless you're like, read lightning, you're like, I don't even know. And then you're like, I don't even care.
Read lightning.
I don't even care. And what, 20 megabytes extra to have some intern go into a booth and read that shit? I mean,
actually, I'll do it very cheaply.
Dude, anybody would do it cheaply.
I was gonna say, do you like reading novels? Because if you do, the cutscenes in this arcade game are for you.
Yeah,
well,
it's pretty crap.
Speaking of old type of games like Smash TV, there's two new downloadable games. One's called Hardcore Uprising, C.O.R.P.S. for core, and it is exactly Contra. If you loved Contra, if you loved how difficult Contra was, but you want that with a new graphical style in HD with really silky smooth, beautiful, high definition sprites, Hardcore Uprising, okay? But for me,
I don't want it.
Well, I do. But there's another game. There's a game that was the game for me. Like before Street Fighter came out and that became the arcade game, there was one game where I would get on my bike and I would go down to 7-Eleven every day and I would like scramble together quarters and I would sit in my bed at night and think about tomorrow I'm gonna get on my bike and I'm gonna go down to 7-Eleven and I'm gonna play Strider.
Oh God!
The old Capcom game Strider.
I didn't know it was I played it on Genesis. Like the music in that game is amazing.
Incredible game.
Wait,
right?
Yeah.
So there's a game out that just hit hit PSN called Moondiver, and I started playing it. I'm like, oh my God, this is Strider. And then I looked it up. Guess what?
Made by Strider.
Same designer. As Strider, who hasn't really made games since.
Did you ever finish Strider? Strider is really impossible.
I only finished it because I downloaded the C.O.R.P.S. emulator in college, where you could get all the old all those old Capcom games, Marvel vs. Capcom and Street Fighter stuff, and it did Strider, and you could just have infinite quarters. But anyway, Moondiver is awesome, and I'm totally hooked on it. It feels very similar to Strider, but there's a leveling mechanic.
So in case people don't know, Strider is.
Strider is it's a 2D slashing game.
You slide though.
There's sliding, there's grappling. You're always on like angles, and you can have this cool like metal magnet thing that like sticks to stuff.
You look like Lion-O.
A little bit. And you get a metal pet with you, and like things that like a crawling thing.
Remember the jungle level? It took me so long to get to that jungle level.
Such a great game. Well, this game is that. 4-player co-op online, leveling mechanic where you can level up different super attacks, really cool graphics, a fun like chaining together attacks for bonuses for XP.
That's cool.
It's awesome, and it just hit PSN. It's the game that I'm most excited about.
Wow, I'm excited to check it out.
That is epic.
But there's one more game I want to mention that just hit recently. I know you've been loving Torchlight, as you mentioned a few weeks ago.
It's really almost a AAA title. It's maybe a AA title.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like, it's you play it and you're like, this is like a full game. The thing about Torchlight that's just good to remember is it's all about that place. Once you get to that, once you lock into that, you can enjoy the sort of like magnifying glass on one little town going underneath it. With me, I think the first time I played it, I was a little bit like, oh, there's no
Nothing
RPG
else?
No, but once you realize what it is, the joy of examining that town and the depths was really great.
Well, one other game that I want to mention real quick is a game you're going to love if you haven't played it yet. It's called Swarm.
I almost downloaded it.
Yeah, you would love it. Yeah. You're a swarm of aliens, and it's almost like Lemmings, where you have to try to keep as many of them alive as you can, and there's tons of like violent things that they'll encounter that will blow them up or slash them in half, and you're trying to keep as many of them alive as you can through the level.
At PAX?
Yeah. It was at PAX.
Last year or something?
It's possible, and you basically have ways to spread them far apart or close them. You know, the triggers do that, and you can stack them and jump them and do things. And
who made this game? Because I think they made a previous arcade game that.
I don't.
And it's not Disclosure Man, people, but it might be.
I don't think it is.
Okay.
Don't have that information on the top of my head, but hopefully Mike put it up there.
Bing, bing, bing.
But it's super fun. It's something you would really like because it's like puzzly, but also requires precision, and it rewards going back and doing levels over and over again, which I know you love. Anyway.
Also, speaking of that, Super Meat Boy, we never talked about, came out a while ago. And plus,
if you hate yourself and want to smash yourself with a brick in the face,
Super Meat Boy is awesome.
So cornucopia of downloadable titles, all for not a full-priced game.
Why not?
And there's tons of deals. Xbox, there's probably it's probably half off this week or something.
I know,
Xbox Live, there's tons of deals.
Yeah, go shopping. All right, everybody, remember to stick around for this day in rad history, but first we want to thank our sponsors. AN Hosting has been providing simple, affordable web hosting since 2001, almost before the internet. Some of the features are, there's an exclusive discount, 3 months for TRS viewers, for free domains, and $100 search engine credit with Google or Yahoo. Sign up. There's a 24/7 US-based phone chat, email support. All of those things in one. They also have over 100 popular scripts like Drupal, WordPress. You can install just one click. Visit anhosting.com/TRS to get your 3 months of free web hosting, which is amazing. So thank you very much, AN Hosting. We'll see you tomorrow. We're still there. We're still painted. We're almost painted.
Tomorrow on the show, we check out what else is on our radar this week.
Today is April 5th, and on this day in rad history, in 1987, the Fox network made its primetime debut. Now, I remember this very clearly because people were saying a fourth network just won't work.
Nope.
It just couldn't work.
There's too much on TV already.
3 networks, a fourth one, not gonna happen.
Yep. And then Married with Children.
Exactly, Married with Children was the show.
And then The Simpsons, and then the rest is history.
Yeah.
At Proudy sent this in. Thank you, at Proudy.
You should be very proud of sending that in.
At